Hey, what's going on, everybody? And welcome back to the Rockman Power Hour, show where we talk to the most interesting people in the world of pop culture. And this week on the show, to celebrate the Just For Laughs comedy festival that's happening here in Montreal, we have got two people that will be appearing at the Montreal JFL Comedy Festival. We have got Trey Kennedy and Kurtis Conner, and they're going to be joining us this week on the Rockman Power Hour. Hey, what's going on, everybody? So listen, this is a really fun one, Ryan, because I don't think we've had a stand-up comedian on the show yet, have we?
Nope. We've had funny people, but not professionally funny people.
And what's interesting about both of these guys is they both come from the world of YouTube. They were both YouTubers, and they both decided to make the foray into stand-up comedy. And they're going to be at the Just For Laughs Festival at the end of the month. Here in Montreal. Now, if you know of JFL, it's becoming a worldwide phenomenon, but it did get its start here in Montreal. It's Just Pour Rire, Just For Laughs. It's just, growing up in this city, our comedy festival has always been known as one of the best in the world. And we draw some big names, and it's always fun when you get some guys that are kind of on the up. Trey Kennedy is a funny dude, okay? Does really, really funny stuff on YouTube. He's able to play any character you can imagine. And the characters he plays are characters that you will meet in your everyday life. So if he'll do, let's say, a scenario between husband and wife arguing about money, he'll play both vantage points. And he's funny. And then he'll do dog moms. He does this one where he talks about dog moms. And it's just over the top, It's so funny. And the fact that he does stand-up now is great, because I love the idea of someone coming from YouTube and then making a foray into the real world. Not that they're not in the real world when they're on YouTube, but making a foray into the real world of comedy and then doing stand-up comedy live. It's got to be a change. It's got to be exciting. So we were able to talk to him about that. We also, a little later on the show, are going to be talking to Kurtis Conner. And I've got a great story about Kurtis Conner that I want to share with you before we jump into the interview with him. But before we get too far ahead, let's make sure we address the elephant in the room. Now, I was going to bring a bottle of hot sauce, but I figured there's no need, because if I count correctly, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Oh, you mean the elephant-sized bottles of hot sauce behind me in my graphic?
I'm not bringing any more hot sauce to the table, because you have always got enough of it behind you. And I still don't understand how you shrink yourself down to get into that fridge, but you do it.
I made an Ant-Man sequel people wanted to see.
Oh, man.
Hey, but for what's worth, I like Quantum Mania, so whatever.
So we'd like to thank all of our friends over at Heartbeat Hot Sauce. They are the heartbeat of the Rockman Power Hour, and they are our title sponsor, and their hot sauce is amazing. The only difference between my fridge and your fridge is that my fridge, all of the hot sauce looks like it's gone through the apocalypse, because there's maybe like this much left in the bottles, and they're all gummy on the top, and it's just beautiful because I use it every day, and I know you do as well. And I know that's a dramatic shot, and that this is green screen stuff, but I don't want to.
I was going to say, my fridge behind me isn't real, Jason. I hate to break this to you, but I know it was a long weekend.
God damn it! All right, so listen, we've got a lot to cover in this episode, so I want to thank Heartbeat Hot Sauce. I always also want to thank the good folks over at Studio House Designs. You were rocking the Scream shirt, and lo and behold, before I love that shirt too, by the way. And before I got on, I got a knock at the door, and the post lady said, "Hey, I've got something for you." I mean, this could go very different directions.
Okay. All I hear is erotica fiction.
Yes, exactly. So, but that's not what it was. It was actually her handing me a package and saying, "Hey, you got a package from Studio House Designs." And the reason why this is a monumentous occasion is that Cody from Studio House Design has been telling me forever, you got to get a tie-dye. And I was like, there's not a chance in hell you're going to get me into tie-dye. I am not a hippie, and I am not in the Grateful Dead, nor do I follow them around, or Fish, or any of those jam bands. Lo and behold, he got me into one.
Nice.
And it's cool. I kind of like tie-dye. It's a little, I mean, I don't know if I'm going to be in tie-dye every day of the week, but something different, right? So thank you to Studio House Designs for hooking us up with the great t-shirts. This is my Midsommar shirt that was part of a drop that came a little while ago. And yes, it is a tie-dye shirt. It's my first time wearing a tie-dye shirt publicly ever.
Really?
I don't have,
and you chose our podcast to do that.
Right?
Thank you for immortalizing this decision in front of all these people.
Hopefully some people watch this episode and then they enjoy it.
Well, they came here to laugh, so, you know.
And if you're just listening, well, you know, use theater of the mind. Imagine me at a Grateful Dead show wearing a big old bright tie-dye. That's exactly what you're going to see.
Yeah, but since they're listening, let's throw a little cherry on that. He also has sprouted wings and is riding a horse.
Yes.
Okay, please continue. Yeah.
Through the gates of Valhalla. All right. So thank you to Studio House Designs for helping us out. And go check them out at studiohousedesigns.com. Great people that make great shirts. Okay, Ryan, Trey Kennedy, we're going to jump into this conversation with him. Super excited about this one. And without any further ado, here's our chat with Trey Kennedy. Hey, man, thanks for taking the time. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I super appreciate it. Good to meet y'all.
So you're going to be in Montreal, part of the Just For Laughs Comedy Festival. Have you been to Montreal before to do comedy at all, or in any capacity?
No, so I'm excited, man. I'm the unconventional route of getting there, where I'm one of the internet guys turned touring comedian. So I'm a few years in, having a blast. So I'm like, this wasn't even. My agent was telling me we're going to get you on here, and it was kind of, it's really surreal. So I always tell people I've not really been to Canada. I've been to Niagara Falls, but that doesn't count. It doesn't count. So first time in Canada, first time in Montreal. Yeah. I'm super pumped.
Well, Montreal is a legendary comedy city. It's a legendary comedy festival, as you probably know after doing a bit of research. But what's great about you is that you're just naturally funny. Doing a deep dive and checking out some of your videos, I mean, you understand people, and you seem to understand the human experience because you're able to be anybody.
Thanks a lot, man.
It's just, I mean, you're talking about dog moms. That, sure. I mean, I get it. I'm a proud dog owner, but I hate dog people.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I feel you. Yeah, I grew up with a dog. Love it. People are like, "You hate dogs?" I'm like, "No, I hate you. Take it easy." Yeah, I know. It's great, man.
But I a couple of ones that really stood out was middle schoolers be like, and being a parent of two teens. I've got a 16-year-old and a 19-year-old. I mean, I've seen that look so many times when the phone's in. I was like, yeah, right. Where do you go to in yourself when you put these together? And is it people do you draw from experience of people in your life, friends who have said, well, this is what my kids are like? Like, where do you go? Like let's just zero in on something like that. Like middle schoolers be like, when you put together a video like that, where's the influence from?
Yeah, and thanks, man. It means a lot. It's surreal to be playing the festival when for 10 years, I was just trying to be funny online, and people are telling me I'm funny, and now they're telling me to go be funny in person. It's every step of the way is kind of blown my mind. So yeah, and starting out, it was all because I grew up in a very conservative, strict, like straight-laced environment. So my initial content was like, I don't want to do anything that would ruffle anyone's feathers in any capacity. I feel like how I've grown in my content, my comedy was getting a little more confident. Like, okay, that's bothering me. There's something funny there that I can make fun of. Right. And starting to realize that people, they weren't hurt by that. They enjoyed it. People come to the shows like, make fun of me, as so many comedy fans do. So it's just, content is just so many ideas. I've had 1,000 ideas you've never heard of because they didn't work. But the middle schooler character was just another, I thought back to how I behaved as a middle schooler, and I was like a super difficult, just class clown kid, and just kind of whipped up a video, almost one I didn't post. I was like, I'm running around acting like a 12-year-old, like is this weird? And 30 million views on Facebook later, it's like, it's one of, like you're doing now. So many people at your age with those age kids are like, how did you come up with that? They love it. So is it just you being, being observant and just looking around and like you're saying, pulling from your own experiences? And for sure. I mean, my show is called Grow Up, and it's my first tour was a little more of that too. Like just trying to be funny, and my Grow Up, my second hour is me, I think, growing and as a comedian and as a performer and being more vulnerable. You get to know me more, and I describe in the show how my my mother would get furious because I was this weirdly observant, critical kid that would just poke at everything. And it drove her nuts. And now it's like it's a good quality to make comedic content and shows. So I think I've just always been wired that way. And then of course, as any comedian, now I'm trained where every second of every day is like, where's the bit?
Where's the bit? Let me write this down. Let me find the pacing and all that. So that's a big change, right? Because when you're in an environment where you're doing YouTube videos, you can control everything. I mean, you can control the reaction of, you can control your reaction. You can control the editing. But in a way, you're in a bit of a vacuum because you don't know how the reaction is going to be until you post it. But when you're live, there's a pacing that has to happen, and it's really safety without a net. I mean, you're walking out, there's no safety, and it's like you're just like
Yeah, I when I first started stand up, I always say, you said I'm a funny person. That means a lot, and that's what I kind of felt when I first tried it. Was like, oh, okay, I just poured over the jokes and trying to. It was like they were getting what I was trying to say. They were, I didn't nail it, but there was, I could see how you could be funny. But what I underestimated was that you're on stage by yourself.
Yeah.
You've got to, and I was always blown away by just the control and the confidence those professional comedians I would see live had, and how that just takes time. And so, yeah, we had a girl try to rust the stage last week. And so it's like just insane stuff. And I, when I started out, I wouldn't have known what to do, but now
right.
you get your rhythm and kind of, you turn it into a bit and you handle it. And I'm still trying to get better at that, but that's been the fun part of developing that.
Now, if that happens again, you got to tear your shirt off like you're Morrissey.
Yeah, right.
If anybody knows about getting stage rushed, it's him.
Yeah.
But it's really, really cool to see that you're game to do that, and you're because a lot of people that work within their own, their own framework and their own, their own environment are scared to go out onto a stage. They find that terrifying. And it's cool to see people, because this was never a place where people could develop their chops before. Before, you would have to go in front of an audience, and now you're able to get in front of a different kind of an audience, obviously. But I guess in a way it's beneficial because you can really get feedback and you can kind of tweak stuff without having to go out there and fall flat on your face. You'll fall flat, but in different ways, like maybe view counts and such.
Right. It's just, I think it's the same journey on the internet. I was scared to post stuff because it's like, I'm going to see this person in person. What are they going to think? And what are these people going to think? And you get bad comments and you learn to deal with that. And I kind of do that process all over again with live, where I would go bomb, or just a joke would just, you feel humiliated. And then you just learn that that's okay. That's okay. Some jokes are funny. Some aren't. You keep the funny ones, you get rid of the not funny ones. And, it's just a process. It feels psychotic half the time.
Yeah. Well, I
just got absolutely humiliated. When can we go back?
We can go back for more. I'm a glutton for punishment. When you do content and you post stuff, a lot of people will say, it's not about the results, it's about the work. And you can't get caught up in the results because that'll just make you not even want to do anything anymore. Is that still true today? Like when you put something up and if it doesn't get 1 million views in a month or something, does that get you down? Or do you do you just realize, it's algorithms? Like, cause you never know now. I mean, it's such everyone thinks it's a science, but it's not. It's just, it's almost impossible to really figure.
It's moving so fast with all the platforms and all the different platforms within platforms. We have threads now, and it's just, and I jokingly tell my wife all that, like 3 times a year, I'll be like, well, I hope you've enjoyed this. It's finally coming crashing down.
Yeah.
It's like, you feel that, and I joke, but I kind of feel it. But when I first experienced that intense feeling of like, oh, my views are going down, my followers aren't growing.
Yeah.
I remember, I'll never forget I went to a therapist, and he was like, you gotta differentiate this. Obviously, this isn't your person. This is not your value, but also there's a business sense of like, why are the views going down?
Sure.
And that kind of struck a chord of like, oh, you were just supposed to tell me it doesn't matter at all. I was like, he's like, no, I mean, you're still in reality. Like, if you want to keep doing this, right? And that has stuck with me, where it's like the views are going down. I'm not going to fall into a pit of depression. That's okay. But also why? Yeah. I'm trying to be successful. And I think a lot of people in this world go like, I'm just ignoring the haters. A lot of the haters. I'm like, well, if you have a ton of haters, maybe you need to look at yourself a little bit.
To look at why you've got the haters.
A few haters you can't control. But so that's been my mindset for years now. But besides some bad moments, it's kind of worked for me.
Oh yeah. And there's no doubt. I mean, like what I loved about your stuff is that the minute I fell in, like I just wanted to go down the rabbit hole and go through everything, like I wanna go 7 years back and find everything.
Sure.
And you're talking about having a conversation with your wife, a couple of finance talks. I mean, that is so bang on. And just the way it ends, like, oh, my package is here. Like, it's just so was that based on a conversation that you'd had before or many conversations?
Yeah. For sure. Most all the content's an exaggerated version of reality, and where and just talking with people. I just love to talk with friends. What's your experience? Because it feels like most couples has the money person and the money doesn't exist person. And so we had combos where we'd be like, hey, let's go through this. And she immediately would be like, whoa, I don't want to, I don't, it's okay. And so yeah, it's just, it feels now with the short form stuff, we're just trying to write really fun little like 60-second shows, there's a beginning, middle, end, and boom, boom, boom. And it's fun when they resonate with people so much like that. And so many people tagging their spouse and all that good stuff.
Yeah. And I think that's what's so relatable about your content is relatable. I mean, it's the human condition. And that's what's great is that everyone can relate. You're going to be here on the 29th of July. You're playing at Club Soda. It's a great venue. It's a super intimate, but at the same time, it's got a good vibe to it. It's spacious. When you step out on stage, do you get butterflies? Do you get scared still? Or is it the kind of thing where you're just so excited to do it that it's overcome? It's more like, I want to get on and I want to get that feeling of going out there and slaying.
I think for the most part, I don't get too nervous anymore. It's a great feeling to grow as a comedian, be doing this longer. With my first tour, still battling a lot of nerves and still a lot of questioning this or that. And I just think I'm more excited about this hour. I'm more excited about this material. It means more to me, and just having confidence of I have more of a confidence where I step on stage, some drunk white girl can rush the stage, somebody can heckle. Like I have confidence I can deal with it and make it okay, which just comes with time. And so I'm excited, man. I'm really fired up to get up there. And the club, so that room looks awesome. I love those. The intimate rooms is maybe my favorite. So it'll be cool. Well,
I can tell you, Montreal in the summertime, you can't beat it. This is an incredible comedy festival. It's run by great people, and legends have passed through this festival. It's
for sure.
There's no doubt. Are you going to be able to spend a bit of time here and get to see some shows? Because I see you're playing Toronto a couple of days before, but once you get to Montreal, you're going to be able to spend a bit of time here.
Yeah, I'm going to try. While we're up there, we're hitting Toronto for a show, which is awesome. Toronto's awesome city too. And then we'll head right to Montreal for the weekend. So I have a open Friday where I'm hoping to get to meet a ton of folks and see some shows and enjoy the city, get some good food. And
nice.
I'm really excited, man.
Lastly, I just want to ask you, this is obviously a big topic on a lot of comedians' minds and people's minds. Comedy to me should never be censored. It's really the place where we learn to laugh at ourselves. Are you in agreement with that? Do you feel that comedy should kind of be left alone and should be not monitored, or do you have thoughts on that?
I do. I don't have strong thoughts. I work pretty clean, and so I'm fortunate to not battle that too much.
Sure.
I'm not trying to stay crazy. But even today, I posted a simple bit where amongst things, I was making fun of Pete Davidson, so I just like put black eye around my eye, because it's like, oh, yeah. And people are like, he has Crohn's disease. It's nothing funny about that. And so there's an element of like, well, I'm making fun of this other person, and you were fine with it. So we're all, And my whole thing is make fun of it's a part of my big shtick with my audience is they make fun of me, and it's like it goes around. So I think as a comedian, you don't have to censor anything you say to me. So I don't feel like I have to censor anything I say to you. I think say what you want to say. People are allowed to react however they want to react. They could hate you, be offended, blah, blah, but we're allowed to say it. You're allowed to react to it. I think simple as that.
I think that is something I'm going to write down because that's a great attitude.
Cool.
Thanks so much for taking the time, man. And looking forward to seeing the show in Montreal. Enjoy the city and continued success. Keep pumping out great content because being someone who discovered it recently, I love it. And I love when that happens. When you can just find somebody who's funny and like you said, clean, like something you could watch with everybody, but everybody can relate. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Like it's very relatable content and it's very funny. So keep kicking ass.
Thanks so much, man. That's super kind. I appreciate the encouragement. And we're stoked to come on up. So
all right, man. Take it easy. Have a Montreal bagel when you're here.
Deal. Say less.
The best.
Thanks, Jason.
See you. Thanks.
Well, he seems like a nice fellow,
right?
Yeah.
Very funny guy too. And I really encourage people to go check him out at Just for Laughs. Go to hahaha.com and you'll find out exactly when Trey will be performing. And I'm excited about the Just for Laughs Festival because this year I've got a little bit more time on my hands that I can actually go.
That's true. This is going to be the hot girl Rockman summer.
It really
you're just going to do everything. You're going to Fantasia. You're all these restraints you used to have. You're just going to try to do it all. And as predicted, like us normies that usually get to do everything, you're going to be so tired in like 2 weeks.
I know. Here I am saying, I'm going to do everything. And then I'm just going to collapse. And it's going to be like, oh yeah, are you coming to Osheaga? And you'll be like,
That's okay. We'll carry you between screenings and comedy shows on a stretcher. Marco's helping us out and he's very strong. So this will work well.
This is going to be good. All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely check out Trey Kennedy. So happy he took a couple minutes to chat with us. Now, listen, we got another guy that's coming on here right now. It's crazy because, and I briefly touch on it with him when we start up the interview, but it's because of my kids that I know who Kurtis Conner is. And,
really?
And I actually, unlike some parents, I actually listen to what my kids are into and love getting turned on to stuff through them. It's so nice to be able to have, your daughter say, hey dad, check out this band. And you're like, wow, it's happened to me. I mean, there's Mitski, there's Claro, there's been a bunch of them, Phoebe Bridgers and Boy Genius, which is an all-star band made up of the three artists that Priya absolutely loves. And we went to go see them in Toronto together and it was a great road trip. So I listened to my kids, and my kids probably about 6 months ago came to me and said, we really want to go see Kurtis Conner. He's playing at the Corona Theater. Can you get me tickets, us tickets? And I did. I found a way to get them in. I did my super dad powers. And they came back from that show so excited. But you'll hear in the interview how I first heard about him. And it's really, really funny. It's actually really, really funny because he's, he's somebody that I had no idea existed until my daughter pointed out who he was. And then I was like, man, this guy is talented and he's funny and he's quick and he's bright. And it's just nice to be able to share something with your kid that you're not giving them, that they're actually sharing with you.
Yeah, I feel that. Isn't it the dream to make it? Like, I became of age. I was like 20 years old when YouTube came out. And me and my buddy started a show and we're like, man, imagine if the show goes so well, we could become stand-up comedians or something.
Yeah.
So it seems like a natural order of the way things were to come. So that's great. Congratulations to him.
Well,
I can't wait to see this.
Yeah, no, me too. And I think you're going to enjoy it. And the thing with Kurtis, it's a little bit different. He said he did do a little bit of stand-up before he got into YouTube, but now he's doing it way more. He's doing live shows. And I think it's probably a little bit more than stand-up comedy. I think it's a little bit more, a little bit more audience interactive. But regardless, the last show we played in Montreal, we played at the Corona Theater. It was sold out. Now he's playing 2 nights at the Olympia. And they're probably going to sell out. So the guy's, he's on the move and he's going up big time in the stand-up world. So super excited to be joined on the Rockman Power Hour by none other than Kurtis Conner.
Hey.
Thanks so much for taking the time.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for having me.
So my first experience with Kurtis Conner was... I have a now 16-year-old daughter, and we were supposed to go see Rex Orange County in Toronto, and the show got canceled. And I had to pull ultimate dad move and find a way to make this better. In hindsight, she's not too upset that she didn't see him, but but Wallows was playing. So I pulled some strings, drove from Montreal to the Wallows show. We got on the barricade. I ended up looking like a security guard just standing there the whole time because I just did not fit in. And then all of a sudden she looks at me and she goes, oh my God, Kurtis fucking Conner. I'm like, what? She goes, yeah, got it. And then you come out on stage and I'm like, was he in the band before? Like, is he a member? And that's what I thought. No idea. I got filled in on the whole car ride back. And
that's so funny.
And the great thing is that it opened me up to a whole new world of discovering you. And then I found out your favorite movie is one of my favorite movies. Oh,
nice. Yeah, I got the poster right behind me.
I know. And then the first thing I wanted to say, well, surely you can't be serious.
I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
So I'm really, really glad that we get to chat today, because for me, it's a bit of a full circle moment. My daughter was very excited.
So funny.
Yeah. Well, both my kids were excited that we were chatting today, and they saw you the last time you played Montreal. I really, really enjoy what you do, because to me, it's so much more than just producing content. It's really social commentary with a lot of research put in. I watched your last video on genderizing products.
Yeah.
And I mean, at face value, you watch it like, oh, this is great entertainment. But being someone who's created content before and who's researched and done interviews, there's a lot that goes into doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's very kind. Thank you for noticing. Yeah, I always try to, especially with a topic like that, like it has been about like gendered products. It's been talked about like to death. Like it's everywhere on YouTube. There's tons of people who've done that idea before, but I always try at least to just add another like something to it, like
Sure.
because I could have just looked at those pictures and like made jokes and just been like, all right, that's a video, see ya. But I wanted to see if there's something else like I could actually buy boy and girl versions of the same product and actually see if there is a real difference between them. Which there wasn't, obviously.
Yeah.
But no, it was still fun. And yeah, obviously you only see the video that I put out. Obviously you're never going to see the days and days I spend like writing and researching and stuff and editing. Yeah. So thank you for noticing that.
Yeah, just the it's the little pop up sometimes of comedy that come at like a split second. So when you put together a video like that, and if I remember, I think it was around like 26 or 27 minutes long, or in the 20 something, ish. How long does that take you to put together from concept to receiving all the products to test and
right?
Like a video like that, how long did that take you to put together?
I don't know. Well, my wife gave me the idea.
Yeah,
because she's giving me like a lot of really good ideas. She's like, she has a better brain than I have in terms of ideas. But she gave me that idea and I thought it was really funny. So yeah, I started just doing research on just reading articles and stuff and the history of just that topic. And I think all in all, it was probably like 2 weeks, probably not of just like, just strictly sitting down and doing and working. So I probably couldn't put an hour number to it to how long, but probably 2 weeks has, because I was busy I think I was filming that leading up to my show in Toronto.
Okay.
So I was busy prepping for that as well. And also my podcast and stuff. So it was like, I'm also just a bad worker as well. So I feel like it takes a long time for me to get shit done. But yeah, that was probably like 2 weeks to get it all done.
So you must, because you do post fairly frequently, you must always have different things that are in various stages of production. Like, okay, well, we got the gender product video that we're doing, that might be another week, but let's do this. That could be a little bit quicker. And
yeah, that is the mindset. Usually it's like, I'll have like a bigger thing that I'm working on. And then I'm like, okay, maybe in the meantime, I can work on something that's a little quicker. I could just get out. But every time it seems I try to do the quicker ones, it ends up being another full like 25 hour video. So it turns into just more work. But yeah, I always try to have, like the podcast is good because it keeps me like just making consistent content because that's every week. And it's, it's a little less. I have an editor for that. So I just film it, send it off to my editor and she puts it together and everything. So that's like a little less stress.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
But yeah, I have one video I'm working on right now that's going up on Friday. And then I have another like longer, like documentary style video that I'm working on for like 4 months now. Wow. So whenever I have time between the other stuff. So it's like, yeah, I have lots of stuff on the go, but it's good to be busy because I'll lose my mind if I'm not. So,
well, and this is the thing that, a lot of, like, as older people tend to dismiss people that do work on YouTube and that is their platform, is that there's a hell of a lot of work. I mean, you're running your own business. You're always constantly trying to think of fresh ideas. You're dealing with algorithms, you're dealing with all that stuff. And, I've talked to people that produce content on YouTube before. It can be the most frustrating thing because, you have all these subscribers, but sometimes it just doesn't hit. And you put all this work in and you're like, do you remember one of your biggest disappointments?
Yeah, I remember all of them, but I think,
do you want to share any? Do you want to maybe share just one?
Yeah, there was one video pretty recently. I for the last like 4 years on YouTube, every Christmas time I would do a Christmas video where I would watch like a bad Christmas movie and just make jokes about it.
Yeah.
And just commentary on like just Christmas movies in general and like how like formulaic they are. But I wanted to like switch it up this year because I was just like, I'm sort of like tired of doing that. It's all like you can only say so much about like Christmas movies.
Yeah.
So I had this idea because AI was going like really getting like ramping up really popular at that time too. So I made a video where I trained 4 separate bots to write scripts.
Okay.
Each bot was trained specifically on one Christmas movie. So one was like Home Alone, one was Die Hard, one was Bad Santa, and I think the other one was the Santa Claus. And then so I trained these bots, and they wrote like scenes from these like movies that they would write with that training. And then I filmed all of the scenes, played every character.
I remember around Christmas time, the kids might have showed me something like that. Yes.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I spent so long turning the scripts into like things that I could film. I played every character like in front of a green screen.
Yes.
Yeah. And it was like, it took me so fucking long to make it and piece it together. And then, yeah, I mean, like, it's weird because it's like the video did like it got like a little over like I don't know what it's at now, but like I have the YouTube app. It like tells you how well or how bad the video is doing
in your studio and all that. Yeah,
yeah. So it was like the 10 of 10, like bottom of the list. Like it was like 100,000 views less than it was usually getting in that time. So it was like it was so disheartening because I was like, and it was sucked because all the comments were like really positive. Like people who watched it were like, this is really cool and it's just funny. But it was just like, of course, the video that I spend
the
so
most time
on that I was so excited about and I thought was like unique. It was like it just didn't perform as well. But it's just the way it goes. They're not all going to be like home runs, right? It's the up and down, but it's definitely tough to deal with even 4 years into it. But
I'm sorry, I didn't want to judge up anything. I'm sorry.
No, it's yeah, that's pretty messed up of you, honestly.
You make the switch from doing that kind of stuff where you're alone. And I spoke to Trey Kennedy before, and we were talking about like creating content in your own space. And obviously, you're someone who does that. But then you go out on stage, and you're in front of people. You did a show here in Montreal at the Corona Theater. Mm-hmm. Both my kids went. Getting tickets for that, I had to run through fucking hoops, man. And I know people, but but it was fine because they were so happy when I finally got the yes. But you're coming back, you're doing a bigger venue, and you're doing 2 nights. Yeah. So obviously you're doing something right. Is it a little bit more? Is it? I don't want to say easier because I know none of it's easy, but is it a little less stress to be able to go and create something that is going to last an hour and a half, and it's going to have a certain amount of time that it's going to last? I mean, I know there's a lot of work running into, putting together, like, let's say an hour and a half show, but does it kind of feel nice to know that there's going to be a beginning, middle, and end to this, and that's it?
Yeah, I think so. I think because I started stand up before like making videos and stuff. So it was never like, there was never a thing of like, oh, I hope this can translate to stage. Like I already knew I could do stand up. Like I've been doing it for like 10 years now. So it's like, I'm confident in it, and I also don't have an app on my phone telling me how bad my stand-up show was after I do it. So that's nice. Sure. And it's just like a different sort of, I think it's just a different part of the brain that gets like activated, I think, in like live comedy and compared to just video, because you can make the video look exactly how you want it to look. Right. And to an extent, you can do that with a live show. But, with it being a live show, there are, anything can happen. And each one is like a little bit different. Mostly it's the same material, obviously, but it's like a little one. Each one can be a little different from the last. So it's definitely more, I don't want to say more fulfilling, but it just fulfills a different part of like the creative part of me that is like, I don't know. I think also just like the instant feedback also is something that is great.
And dealing with possible hecklers and people yelling stuff, and then you have to really be quick on your feet. So I imagine it totally works another part of the brain or another part of
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It is like, and it's just cool to be able to, introduce people to stand up who might have never gone to a stand up show. Because, it's just like, why would you, right? Not like if you're, it's so it's cool that I get to be the person that people like. I've heard so many times from like fans that it's like that was the first stand up show I've ever been to.
You could be like you're like the gateway drug to stand up for a lot of people, and that's great. Yeah. I think it's really good for the stand up and for the comedy world to have someone like you who will bring a whole new audience. And that's usually, you got these people sitting around boardrooms smoking cigars going, how are we going to get those younger kids in here? And the thing is that does really, really bring another audience, which I think is phenomenal.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I got to ask you, because you are an Airplane fan and I'm an Airplane fan. I mean, really, not blowing smoke, one of my favorite movies, if not my favorite comedy. I mean, it's right up there with Christmas Vacation. And Elf, which are two great Christmas movies. But what was your first experience with Airplane? Who showed it to you first? Was it a parent? Was it an older brother? Was it a sibling? Was it an uncle?
I believe it was my stepdad who told me about it. I'm pretty sure. I don't think I watched it with him, but he told me about it and would like reference, like he would make the jokes from the movie all the time. So yeah, it was, I think it's on my own time. I was like, I'll see what the fuss is about. And it was just so different. I think I watched it the year I started doing stand up, and it was like just mind blowing to me. Like the writing was so smart, and like just I'm trying to like figure out how to word this, but like the lengths that they go to like commit to a bit is like, no movie has done that since.
No,
like, it's not reached that level.
No, and in today's day and age, it could be a very dangerous movie for a lot of people, which I find, and I said this before, whenever I talk to a comedian, comedy is a place where you should be able to say what you need to say. It should be a safe place where we all can learn how to laugh at each other, but there's always fine lines. But Airplane for me is just so outrageous, so crazy. It's so much of its time, but the lines, like I can never meet someone whose name is Shirley and not say that to them. I can never, say I picked the wrong week to stop sniffing glue, like whatever it is, or if I'm at an airport, the loading, the white zone is for loading and loading, passengers, all that stuff. So it's really cool when I heard that it was one of your favorite films, because it's a special one. It's a special one. It is one of those movies where I could just watch it over and over again, and it's still as funny as it was the first time. It's just because I feel like you catch new things every time too. You do. New things that you didn't think were funny the first time. Like that one throwaway thing where it's like, I forget the exact line, but when the guy like orders another coffee and it like zooms in on the wife and she's like, he never orders a second coffee at home. It's so stupid. It's so funny, but it's so good. Thank you so much for taking the time, man. I know you got other people to talk to, and we're looking forward to seeing you again in Montreal. Continued success. And I'm going to be the coolest dad ever when I show this to my daughter.
Sweet.
She's going to be really, really happy. So
I'm happy to help out. Tell him I say hello.
I will for sure.
Cool. Thanks. Thanks for talking.
Thanks so much, man. And all the best.
The older I get, the less I rage I feel about people succeeding in businesses I wish I could have. But at the same time, it's really cool. It's really, really cool that every generation has their own voice. They have their own music, they have their own comedy. And it's really cool that in 2023, like both your kids are so into this guy, because it's like, it just goes to show comedy just keeps going on. And every generation has their bit. And in 20 years, 30 years, they're going to be telling their kids about how they saw this guy and how he was amazing. The same way that I talk about seeing, I wish I would have saw Norm Macdonald, but I saw Russell Peters right before he broke, man. Yeah. Right before he was playing the Comedy Nest in front of like maybe 50 people. And then not 6 months later, it's like Metropolis.
Yeah. It's great. It's great. And that's what's great about Just for Laughs is that you get to see comedians when they're about to break in small venues. And it's fun when you see them all of a sudden explode. And also, I got to see Dave Chappelle at JFL. I mean, that was really special, and this year the lineup is great. So I encourage people to go check out JFL's lineup for this year at hahaha.com. It all will be out there for you to be able to check out, plan your week, your festival. And it's going to be a lot of fun. You and I are going to be going to a lot of comedy shows. So get ready for that one. And
I'm prepared to smile and laugh until it hurts it hurts already, so I'd rather be laughing when I do it.
It's going to hurt even more. And the cool thing about Kurtis Conner was the fact that we both share a movie that we really, really enjoy, which is Airplane. And when I found that out, I thought it was great. And the fact that he was willing to do the Shirley joke with me was pretty cool too. So thank you to Kurtis Conner for joining us this week on the Rockman Power Hour. Thank you to Trey Kennedy as well. Thank you to my co-host Ryan Stick. Thank you to our producer Julia Kajerski. Big thanks to Heartbeat Hot Sauce, the heartbeat of the Rockman Power Hour. To AKG for giving us these incredible microphones and headphones and making us sound and, be able to hear ourselves sound incredible. And a big shout out to Studio House Designs as well. Managed to finally get me into a tie-dye shirt, but I am not following the Grateful Dead and I am not smoking pot. Sorry. I might eat some Cherry Garcia ice cream, but that's about it.
Hey, I have a lot of their tie-dye shirts and I do neither. Thank you very much.
And until then, we will see you next time on the Rockman Power Hour.